Today we're going to install a reverse camera on our 2013 Toyota Avanza. So we're going to get the parts, we got the screen, the camera, all the cables and stuff, and we're going to install it onto the car on our own. I'll show you how it goes. You should be able to finish the whole process within 3 hours. I took super long because I didn't know how it works. And all this stuff, all the parts have been proudly sponsored by GearBest, and they are also going to give a lucky winner one whole set of these reverse camera parts. So stick to the end of the video, there's a giveaway, and let's do it. So here's everything you'll need. You have a camera, waterproof, our screen or monitor. We have a circuit adder for the fuse box, some power cables just in case, a multimeter to test the fuse, some zip ties, heat shrink, or you can also use electrical tape, a Dremel or a small drill, some weather sealing, some wire splicers, more weather sealing, screwdriver, and paint. Okay, so I've already decided to put my monitor here, right in front of the aircon, and that lets us wire it up to the fuse box down here. And that's step 1, identifying the fuse. So we'll take our circuit adder and multimeter. Let's head over to the car. So first, let's turn on the multimeter. We set it to measure 20 volts direct current. Next, connect the negative terminal to here or any bare metal spot. And with the positive, we're going to test the fuses. So just touch it to the bare metal spot on top of each fuse. What we are looking for is a fuse that turns on only when the ignition is on or the engine is on. Basically, we don't want the monitor to be on unless our car is on, otherwise it will drain our battery. So this is a good fuse. Let's use it. So let's pull out this fuse that we've identified. And we're going to put the circuit adder in. Make sure to put both fuses into the circuit adder before you plug it in. So what this does is the original circuit is still in place, but we get one additional positive lead. So let's test it. Hook up the positive terminal to the positive lead and make sure it behaves the same. Okay, and that brings us to step 2. So grab your power cable and the monitor. Let's get started. Okay, so before we get too invested in this installation, let's just make sure everything works. All the parts we have works, the cables, the cameras, the monitor. So we're just going to do a quick test. We have our monitor here and we have the power cable. So we're just going to plug this in like that. Right, so the power cable is connected, and let's turn that off first. Put it down here. We have a positive lead coming out of our fuse box now, but of course the monitor takes a positive and a negative. Positive of course goes in there, but negative will go on here for a while. Okay, so negative, positive goes in. Right. The monitor doesn't turn on until there's a video signal, so we need to hook up the camera as well just for testing. I've got the camera here. The camera comes with a power cable, same as the monitor, and it's got a positive negative cable wires, and on the other end there's a RCA output. So we're going to take our long RCA cable, plug that into the camera, and take the other end, plug that into the monitor, and of course the camera doesn't have power, so temporarily, just for testing, we're going to use a 9-volt battery. Just going to press these contacts. Positive goes to the small one, negative goes to the big one. There we go. Okay. Now that we know everything works, let's install the monitor. First we take off this dashboard trim so we can tuck all the cables underneath, and the negative wire will be secured onto this bolt. Tighten it up, and the positive wire will go into our circuit adder. Make sure you crimp the blue part, just squeeze it with a plier. So after everything's done, it should look like this. The cables are nicely secured under the trim, and the RCA connectors are in there too, and the monitor will be on top. You will need to either glue it down or screw the monitor into place. Okay, so now we need to route the cables. And here is basically where I screwed it up for myself. So I'm going to try to guide you through so that you can do it the easy way. The idea is we need to route all the cables. So the video cable goes all the way from the front, the monitor, down through the floor panels, B pillar, floor panel again, and then up through the inner quarter panel. And here it will join up with the camera power cable from the reverse light. It will go up, out through the back door and punch out through the door handle and reach the camera. So starting at the back, first we'll take our trim removal tools and remove the inner back door panel. Okay, after that we'll remove 4 nuts. That lets us remove the door handle. Next we take off the rear camera light assembly. Our power cable will run from the rear light bulb in through the weather sealing rubber seal. Next we need to remove all the floor trim from the front driver side door, rear driver side door, and we need to just pull up the B pillar door trim, that's the one beside the driver, and just pull out the inner rear quarter panel trim. So all of this come out just by pulling on them. Just don't be too rough. Use your trim removal tools so you don't break any of the plastic securing clips. By far the trickiest part of this cable routing is getting the video and power cable from the top of the door to the middle. There's a thin pillar here, and the only way I found that works is you have to remove the rear demister rubber seal and try to get a metal wire in there, and eventually the metal wire will hit this hole, but it won't come out, so you have to stick your finger in or some long pliers in, pull out the metal wire. Once you manage to do that, you can hook the wire onto your power cable and your video cable and drag it through and out of the demister power hole. So that's half of the door pillar done, and the other half is relatively easy. Just repeat the same process but in the opposite direction. And this side is much easier also because there are large openings on this side of the door. So you'll have a much easier time pulling out the wire cable. We are almost done with the cable routing. Just 3 quick tips. Number 1, you will have to join the cables. The cables are not long enough to reach from the front of the car to the back except for the RCA cable. And number 2, after getting the cables to be long enough, make sure you don't put the connectors on first. So the power connector or the RCA connector, leave them off. Just have the plain cable first while you're doing the routing, because there's a lot of tight places to squeeze through, and especially the rubber seals, the weather sealing, you won't be able to get the connector through. So just the plain cables, and after you finish the routing, then put the connectors on. And lastly, if you're wondering how to connect to the rear light bulb for power, that's what the T-splice connectors are for. So you have a bag of T-splice tools in your giveaway package. Use that and splice in without having to cut the built-in light power cables. Alright, and that brings us to the last step, installing the camera. Luckily this step is easy. Just snake the camera through the hole in your door handle. Tighten up the door handle and mark out where you want to mount the camera and drill 2 small holes where the mounting holes are. Once you have the holes drilled, you can use your screwdriver and mount the camera on. And check out the results. Not too bad. Nice. So how about that giveaway? Well, let's see what you're gonna win first. You got a camera, 5-inch screen, 2 circuit adders, different sizes for different models of cars, some T-tap wire splice connectors, and 2 power cables. You'll need this to extend the cables, and also it's an additional connector in case you lose one. Awesome. So how do you enter? Well, just go into the description down below. There's a link there. Click that link and there's just 2 things you need to do, so get right to it. The winners will be announced on 15th February 2018. Good luck! And remember to share this video with your friends and invite everyone to join. Bye!